I don't know about you guys, but Dance Moms consumed a big chunk of what I was watching when I was a teen. I was hooked on the show and the drama, and since everything, it's been crazy to see where the girls ended up after the show and what they're up to now. If you aren't aware, the show surrounded the Abby Lee Dance Company and their junior competition team. The main stars of the show were Maddie and her sister Mackenzie, Chloe, Nia, Brooke and her sister Paige, and then we have Kendall that came in later on, and then of course I have to mention JoJo because she really blew up after the show, and although she wasn't an original girl, she has made such a name for herself just from being on Dance Moms. The show aired in 2011 and ended in 2019 when most of the main girls were long gone, but the show was always filled with tons of drama between the moms arguing with each other to arguing with Abby, lots of crying from the moms, the girls, Abby. And Abby was an extremely harsh, tough teacher on the girls, constantly criticizing them and ranking them. Success stories certainly have come out of the show, Maddie being a prime example as she's gone to dance for Sia and starred in major films such as West Side Story and The Fallout, which is an incredible movie. It's certainly very triggering, I will say that, but she was excellent in it. But their success certainly came at a cost because being on the show certainly wasn't easy, and not too many of the girls really have wanted to dive into what being on the show was really like, or they just don't want to revisit that period of time in their lives. Here and there, they will make comments when asked about their experience, and it's known that not many of them are in contact with Abby to this day, but now there's talks of a potential reunion that's going to happen, and one of the dancers, Kendall, has recently come out to spill on her experience being part of the show. She went on the Off Schedule podcast recently where she sat down with her friends from college and talked about the details of Dance Moms. She talked about how the show wasn't even supposed to be about the girls that much, and that they had originally just wanted the show to be about the moms and not that much dancing. But people loved the dancing so much that they had to incorporate the girls into the show more. And she says that the show wasn't totally scripted, but they knew what they had to do in order to be on the show more and essentially be the stars of it and get paid.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't handed a piece of paper and they were like, okay, this is what you're going to say here. But the producers would come in and pull us aside one by one and be like, okay, so we're going to manipulate this situation to where Abby starts yelling at you and then you have to react or you're not going to get paid. So like if our moms didn't fight back or start arguments, they'd basically like hang a paycheck in our faces and be like, you're not going to get paid if you don't do this.
Oh, okay.
And so obviously we're like, okay, it's a TV show. Like, that's not who we are as people, obviously. It's a job. We're going to get the job done.
The fights would get really intense on the show, and they asked her if it ever affected their off-camera relationships or if it was all just for the show and it was just understood as just that.
Sometimes when there was big arguments, it would kind of lead to the off-camera times of the day. I mean, now that we're done filming, there's still a little bit of tension between the cast members just because of the way people left and I don't know, just the way things ended off. But I mean, we went through so much together, it's kind of hard not to talk to them and like have a healthy relationship with them. But at the same time, it was kind of every man for himself. Like it was mom and daughter against mom and daughter against mom and daughter against dance teacher. So like it was just a huge mess, honestly.
She says that guests on the show were actually the most ruthless because they knew that in order to get that camera time, they would have to start a fight or drama somehow because that's what the producers wanted and it's what they loved showing in the final edit. So they would be particularly nasty when being a guest star on the show on purpose. But in terms of Abby, Kendall feels as though they made Abby look way nicer on the show than she was in person, which is crazy to hear because of how people viewed her as being strict just based on the show's edit alone.
She could have taken things a lot differently when she was coaching 8-year-old children. Like, we were 8, 9 years old, and she would tell us we were fat, washed up, ugly, shouldn't be here, we're too privileged, we're not swift. Like, she would just say things that little kids didn't even know how to comprehend.
Oh, that's crazy.
But knew it was bad.
Yeah.
And like that just does so much to your mental health as a dancer. Trained us to be winning dancers, so that's how she did it. She just screamed at us
Yeah.
and sat on our legs until
So
they broke.
So speaking about like,
She says she does have respect for Abby because she got her to where she is today, but she ultimately felt like things could have been much different. She also talks about the pyramids that they did on the show, which were a very big part of every single episode. Abby would rank each girl from worst to best based on their performance from the previous week, which this is something that has come out before and been said that they only did this for the show, and this isn't something that Abby did because she liked doing it. It was something that was to entertain the audience. But Kendall revealed that when they would do this ranking, it was more about how nice your mom was that week to Abby and less about your performance. And because her mom started a lot of drama, she was always at the bottom. And she did acknowledge how Maddie was a favorite. And if you watch the show, that's not a shock at all. But she went on to talk about how it was tough going through the emotional roller coaster of getting screamed at, then getting praised, then getting told that you suck at dancing, and mentioned that they did actually have a team psychiatrist who did come in and talk to them if they needed. But at the end of the day, she says the whole experience gave her just like such tough skin, and she really learned to be aware of what she's doing at all times and how people perceive her because of being on the show.
But growing up in front of a camera, like, it's just such a crazy perspective because you have to watch what you say, you have to watch what you do, you have to watch how you act, what you wear, how you wear it. Like, you have to think of all these things that normal people don't think about. And I'm just so like brainwashed of doing that. It doesn't even faze me anymore.
yeah,
She described what it was like being on set filming the show and what they would do in order to film those scenes where the moms were fighting, and how the girls were kind of just left to sit and wait out those fights, not really knowing what was going on.
A lot of the people who were behind the cameras working it, like the producers, the cameramen, they were all like grown men telling little girls like, okay, go sit in the bathroom. We're going to lock you in there while your parents are fighting. Like, they would lock us in bathrooms or closets or rooms to keep us away from the drama so we wouldn't interfere. And like, just that, like, when it was happening, I wasn't even thinking about it, but now I'm like, wow. Like, we really let these people trap us in rooms for hours, having no idea what was happening to our moms.
yeah.
And we're just like sitting ducks. Like, we have no idea what's going on, but we had to follow what they told us to do, or else like we'd probably be going home the next day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, she says those girls are bonded to her for life because of what they went through when they were filming, and only they really know the reality of what it was like going through what they did. It was just such an intense time in all of their lives, and they were so young, being thrown into stardom and drama and Hollywood, and they didn't have much time to just play around and be kids.
Like, we had such a structured schedule. I had no time to go home on the weekends or to like call my friends. Like, we were constantly filming, and when we weren't filming, we were filming music videos and going to casting calls and meeting with directors and agents. Like, we had so much going on. I didn't even think twice about what was going on at home. Or it sounds so awful, but like my family, I barely kept in touch with them just because it was so overwhelming.
She reveals that filming for the show did split up her family a bit because she has two sisters and a dad, and they were living in a completely different state from her and her mom for a while because there was a period of time where Abby decided that she wanted to move her dance studio from Pittsburgh to Los Angeles, so everybody had to move to LA. But after Dance Moms, she ended up going back to Pittsburgh with her mom. She went to high school, and her mom made her go and get an education, and she didn't want to go, but her mom made her go to high school, and she said that she's really happy that she did because she felt like a normal person, and that was really big to feel that way after being on Dance Moms. And now she's in college. She's still trying to live as normal as possible. But when she went to college, people did recognize her. And she says that girls at the college would hang up pictures of her like the pyramid or pictures of the rest of the cast of Dance Moms. And she had to be aware of who she was talking to and making friends with because of that stuff. But things were better over time. and people were used to her being the girl from Dance Moms, and she's been able to meet good people, and she's really happy with where she ended up. She's on the dance team at her college, and she did say that after Dance Moms though, she didn't dance for 5 years, and it wasn't until she got to college and joined the dance team that she actually did start to dance again, because she admits that Dance Moms did kind of ruin dance for a lot of them. But it sounds like there's a reunion that's possibly about to go down, and I will say I'll be shocked if all of the girls actually attend the reunion, but Kendall talked about this being a possibility in a recent TikTok.
Dance Moms is doing a reunion, so can't wait. So excited to see all the girls. I haven't talked to them in, there's a few that I keep in touch with. Gonna be an interesting special, to say the least.
So I wonder if they'll be discussing their feelings on dance to this day, how the show made them feel about dance, and their experience being on this show. It'll for sure be interesting to hear everything that would be revealed in a possible reunion. And I have to say, like, in an interview not too long ago, Maddie Ziegler did admit that she couldn't even really watch Dance Moms back because it made her sad. So I wonder if her and Mackenzie would even be there at all. I feel like no, but I would be surprised. I guess we'll just have to see. Let me know if you guys watched Dance Moms back in the day and what you think about what Kendall had to say, including the tease of a reunion. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.